since I have my own timer. So 3, 2, 1, go. So as I say, this is Sparkster's normal mode, and this is a game that is all about moving very quickly with the rocket boost mechanic. This is a sequel game to Rocket Knight Adventures on the Genesis, so it uses the same rocket boost mechanic. And I missed the cutscene skip, that's half a second gone already. Dan's game. You'll hear me complaining about small time saves or time losses like that here and there, because this is a game with a really, really high optimization ceiling. Running this game at a high level is more about tiny optimizations than anything else, such as managing lag, which we'll see right here in this first corridor. As soon as we reach this enemy, the game starts slowing down, even worse on this second enemy. So knowing how to stop the game from lagging so hard is a critical element of running this game well. And we also need to manage our health as well. Currently, I just picked up a health pickup, so I'm about half health. You don't actually want to be at max health at all times, because this game has an additional system where every time you clear a stage, you get a stage clear bonus and you get a life bonus. And the life bonus counts up more for your remaining health in the stage. So the less health you end a stage with, the faster you go, essentially. It's a small time save, but it is worth paying attention to if you have free control over it. So one would think that the fastest method then is to damage boost wherever possible, like right here I should be taking damage. And that's partially correct, but as I said, lag really matters in this game, and taking damage causes lag. So by and large, we will be saving health to damage boost on bosses so that we can get quick kills on bosses, because the damage you can inflict in this game is very fast. For that first boss there, we simply stay in front of the boss since he has no contact damage hitbox, and we just rocket boost when appropriate. For the stage 2 boss, it's one of the only instances where we're going to be using the sword swipe to inflict damage primarily. We have various ways of inflicting damage in this game. There's the sword swipe, the sword projectile, the rolling attack, which I'm also using for movement, and the rocket boost. The projectile deals 3 damage, the sword strike deals 4 damage, the rolling attack deals 5 damage, and the rocket boost deals 6 damage. Also, those rollers are instant death if you fall into them, so death hazards are fun. So are these crushers, those also kill you instantly. So when trying to just get raw damage output, I will be using rolling attacks and rocket boosts as much as possible on bosses. But on certain enemies, such as the stage boss coming up here, that's not much of an option. I thought I was in the wrong part of the stage there. Wow. I thought I was here in the stage, never mind. Rolling attacking is not really an option for this boss because of just the way he's laid out. I'm going to wait for an audio cue here. So I wait for that audio cue to boost to the right there, because if I start on the right hand side of the screen, the boss actually spawns off screen and we have to wait a long time for him to come on screen before we can inflict damage. But if you start at the left there, he simply starts on screen as soon as he loads. That's why I wait for that audio cue there. This pace is a little iffy right now, but we'll see how it goes, and I'm also going to get a chance to just relax for a little bit here, since the start of stage 3 is actually an auto-scroller. As soon as the stage starts, you have 73 seconds where it is better to just do nothing, for the reason that, I mean, as I mentioned before, one of the factors of this game is lag management, and being that it's an auto-scroller, we can't go faster in the auto-scroller. All we can do is potentially go slower by causing lag, and if you move around and destroy enemies, that's the only thing you're going to end up doing, because the enemies will infinitely respawn in this section. So I'm instead just going to sit here and do absolutely nothing. I will occasionally take damage, but I won't take enough damage to be threatened properly, and the amount of damage that I take, I will immediately heal off after I beat the mini-boss of the stage. So for the next minute, there is just nothing going on, so I can just continue to talk about the mechanics of the game, really. So you've seen that movement is centered around using the rocket boost and the rolling attack. The rocket boost I want to use whenever possible, and the rolling attack I want to use when I can't use the rocket boost. But you can't just spam the rolling attack with complete abandon, because there's a hidden mechanic in this game called exhaustion. If you rolling attack 6 times in a row in quick succession, Sparkster gets exhausted. It fills up a hidden value, and once that value reaches maximum, Sparkster gets exhausted, which is simply losing control for about 3 seconds. So obviously we want to avoid that, and we can do that by staggering when we use rolling attacks to make sure the meter doesn't fill up. Landing on the ground seems to help, but the best solution is taking damage. Whenever you take damage, the exhaustion meter completely resets. So for the main stage boss that's coming up in this stage, what we're going to do is actually use virtually nothing but rolling attacks to inflict damage, and that's going to be possible because we're constantly damage boosting through him, so we're never going to hit exhaustion. So that mini-boss is done with. A little frame saver there by using the sword swipe for the last hit instead of the rocket boost, since all forms of damage will kill him with the health he had remaining, so it's slightly quicker to use the sword swipe. I've done a little bit of work in this game with looking at memory values for enemy HP, so that I can actually route the best way to take certain fights, such as, because the different forms of attack have different damage values, if you attack in a certain way, you can like kill them in one less hit, and as I say, it's all about small optimization, so anything like that helps. A minor mistake there with hitting that enemy. This is an example of exhaustion, actually. You see there how I just dropped back into the mech. I entered the helpless state. Since I land back in the mech, I immediately regain control, but if you just land on the ground, you are helpless for about 3 seconds. So that's something to be avoided at all costs. So generally, when I'm moving through the stages, I use rocket boosts as optimally as I can, and I use the optimal number of rolling attacks to increase my speed when I can't rocket boost. Some of them are accurate though. So here's how we kill bosses. You can see that I'm using far more than 6 rolling attacks, but I'm able to do so. Alright, safety here. That's a bad boss fight. I didn't have enough health there to continue rolling attacking safely. If you die on that boss, it's actually not an automatic time loss, because the robot bird that I'm on can attack independently of Sparkster with the energy ring, as you saw. And even after Sparkster dies, if you finish the boss off with the energy rings from the bird, it actually interrupts the death animation. So you also get an optimal life bonus of 0 points, which is nice. A bit of a hairy start to this stage 4. But once we get into the laser corridor, this is a really good example of how laggy this game can get. So you really want to minimize time spent in here, which again I'm doing through damage routing. With 2 rolling attacks and 1 rocket boost, I destroy these doors in 3 hits instead of 4. And that's my favourite strat in the game, just about. 5 rolling attacks in the air, just come into the exhaustion limit, and that gives us just enough distance to make it to that ledge there. I love that strat. Good steam vents. Damage less once I got through, so I'm only going to use 3 rolling attacks there, or I might accidentally hit exhaustion. This corridor is supposed to be threatening casually because these individual sections are instant death if the water catches up, but we do not worry about that in a speed when we just completely outrun the water. So health is also good for the boss, which is nice because, again, this is going to be a very damage boost heavy boss. Ah, nice RNG there. Yeah, those planes are random. Still got more than enough health though, and this boss has 3 phases. So first of all we get these turrets. That was a good phase 1 actually. Second turret is phase 2, and now the main walker comes out, which is phase 3. Gonna get a little cheeky hit off as he comes out, and now hopefully chain rolls and boost as accurately as possible for maximal damage output. That was actually a good fight, and I still had plenty of health remaining. I should maybe play with the idea of just avoiding the health pickup at the start of the stage. I'm grabbing it for safety and consistency, but it's absolutely not necessary to finish that level. Though, it can depend how you damage boost on that boss, because different sources of damage deal different amounts of damage, as you would expect. The main body of that boss deals half a heart, and the spike arms deal a full heart of damage. You can also take damage way too quickly if you are not paying attention to what you're doing, because a little quirk of this game that I wasn't aware of for the longest time, and then I realised it's why I was losing a lot of runs, is that every time you take damage you gain iframes, obviously. But whenever you boost, you lose your iframes. So if you take damage and then immediately boost, you can take a second hit immediately again. And I was doing that unwittingly in situations where I was taking a full heart of damage, so I was quickly racking up damage. And I just had so many situations where it was like, why am I dying so quickly? And I didn't realise that's what I was doing. So that was a mini-boss, and that's done. I'm already over halfway through this stage, since this stage is meant to be a maze. Also, taking damage there refreshes exhaustion again, and that pyramid skip there is a lot more precise than it looks. Okay, I don't care. That's a little slow, but I'm good for health. That's the important thing. This boss here is brutal. The sandworm is RNG incarnate and can damage you extremely quickly. Careful. Don't take extra damage. Okay, good fight. I didn't get any digs. That is still a good fight. Every time the sandworm digs in the ground, which is completely random, it's an automatic 5-second time loss, so I'm not too unhappy with that. Fight was a little hairy, but the run is definitely alive. I would balk at saying this is a world record pace run. I've been playing a little loosely, but nothing has gone drastically wrong, and I do have available time save in the late stages. Because there's 8 stages in the run, we're currently in stage 6. Play a little bit of piano there to the level music, because why not? So an example of damage routing there that I'm talking about is that hit 5 for that enemy, I did a rocket boost instead of a rolling attack. That takes the fight from 8 hits to 7 hits. So yeah, small optimizations like that. And we also use a specific route to get through these drums quickly. Also, resetting exhaustion there was quite nice by landing on the drum. It's one of the only times we deliberately hit exhaustion in the run. You more or less don't want to hit it otherwise. Tight jump here. Got it. That jump is way tighter than it looks, and it's actually very important because this is one of the laggiest sections of the game, so you want to spend as little time in this section as you can help. I'm playing really loosely if the music change is happening there before I even get out the pipe. Whatever. I'm going to have full health entering this stage 6 boss, which is nice. It's actually borderline necessary. The stage 6 boss is our counterpart Black Knight Axel here. What is happening? Nice. Alright, so Axel is a really threatening boss since his damage output is heavier than any other enemy in the game. He has a variety of attacks that he can use, such as the kick, which we want to see, where he'll get in the corner quickly and we can chain him, or he can sword swipe, or he can use his flaming drill attack. The sword swipe deals 1.5 hearts, and the flaming drill deals 2 hearts. That will do. Please? That will do. That's actually rare to get a fight where he leaves the ground and you can actually maintain control of the fight. Yeah, that's pretty uncommon, so I'm glad that I got that fight, and he didn't use any truly threatening attacks. As I said before as well, the nature of resetting your iframes after you boost, you can accidentally put yourself in some horrible situations where you get hit by the flame attack out of nowhere, accidentally boost because you are just reacting to what's going on, and then you immediately take another hit from it, and you lose over half your health in less than a second. It's really brutal. So, Stage 7. This, for people who used to run this game before I picked this game up, this was kind of known as like a gatekeeper stage. The boss of this stage is unreal. This is an auto-scroll stage followed by the infamous robot duel in space, which even casually, you go to YouTube, you watch casual videos of this game, people say things like, oh, this game's amazing, this is one of the best SNES games, but it's ruined by this one boss fight, and this boss fight is the one they talk about, and even people who've tried to run this game agree. Before I looked into like how damage actually works in this game and how to route boss fights, it was pure safety strats for this boss, that you would try and chain jabs to keep him in the corner, hope that he doesn't go berserk on you, and try to whittle his arms down slowly. And that sometimes works, sometimes it doesn't. The reason that it doesn't work very reliably is that it makes the fight take a long time, and he can randomly choose to berserk rush any time, which deals a lot of damage. So the way this fight is actually going to work is, I discovered through some testing that the boss actually has identical stats to you. It's not that the boss is really strong, really powerful, it's just that he has basically TAS accuracy in how he places his hits when he goes berserk. You both have 224 HP. You both have 2 arms which have 224 HP. And you both deal the same amount of damage with your hits. It's just that the player is far less accurate at dealing hits. So with either of the arm jabs, you deal 8 damage. But there is a hidden mechanic that the game doesn't really teach you about called 1-2 punching, which is if you say miss a left jab and then immediately follow it up with a right, it deals increased damage. Instead of 8, it deals 12. And moreover, the closer that punch is to the missed first punch, it can deal additional damage on top of that, up to a maximum of 20 per hit. And remember what I said about he has 224 HP, so if you place your punches optimally, you can kill him in as little as 11 hits, which is phenomenally fast. So the way the fight is going to go is that we're going to use a small manipulation to get him into the upper left corner, and hopefully get the first 7 hits of the fight for free. I can't promise that I will be dealing optimal hits, but they will be amped up hits, which will hopefully bypass the first random phase. The phases of the fight are determined by remaining HP. The first random phase seems to be between 100 to 50% HP, and then in phase 2 he'll do some guarded rushes and then turtle, which wastes a lot of time if he does turtle, and that seems to be between 50 and 25% HP. Once he's below 25% HP, he goes into phase 3, which is Desperation, where he will simply Berserk Rush, and he will not stop Berserk Rushing until I'm dead. Like, once he's in that phase, you cannot force him to stop Berserk Rushing. So the reason people died on this fight is because they take it slowly, they accumulate damage, and then they enter the Berserk phase when they don't have the health to damage race him. The point of this strat is to quickly get him into phase 3, and then simply damage race him once he doesn't have enough health to kill me quick enough. So we're simply going to try to out-damage him. Sounds risky, sounds dangerous, but I've tested this extensively. This is the safest way to take the fight, because you simply want to minimize the time of the fight. Also has the advantage of making the fight take less time. I actually published all of this data on the SDA thread for this game as well, but people haven't cared about this game for years, so, you know, go figure. No one's read it. So I'm going to get serious for a minute and focus on this. Like I say, I'm going to miss lefts and then land rights. Early Berserk. This could be good or it could be bad. Wow, this is uncommon. He gave me a random Berserk, which is good, but then I can't believe that! Alright, was a really bad fight. That's the worst place in the run to actually die as well. That's going to lose about a minute. I cannot believe I didn't finish that. And that makes me look really foolish. Right. Better luck on round 2. I was convinced I had that. So, an early Berserk Rush, if you're using that initial strat, is actually the best thing that can happen for getting good times, because he doesn't defend while he's doing that. And moreover, he also charges towards you, which can let you chain consecutive hits back to back. But I simply didn't place my hits accurately enough. It could have been that some of my hits weren't close enough together, so the damage dispersal was a bit too high, because he was easily like 1 hit away from death there. But we will deal. As long as he doesn't give me an early Berserk, I should have a consistent fight though. And most of the time he doesn't early Berserk like that. Alright, this is the standard pattern, where he guards and then rushes. And we can simply time some pot shots like this, as you can see. So this is the turtling phase that I wanted to avoid, but okay. And now he goes into Berserk because I've knocked him down to minimum health, and then you kill him. So yeah, it's meant to be a consistent fight, but sometimes it just really depends on how accurate your hits are. So that was a really healthy run before that, which is a bit of a disappointment, but we'll see how it goes. At this pace, this run is probably going to be a low 20 if stage 8 is clean. And my PB/record for this game is 1904. So yeah, as I say, with that costing just over a minute in a death on that boss, this is still a good one, aside from that one accident. So stage 8, really good 3D graphics on these missiles for what it's worth, but they're also really, really dangerous. If I don't hide from these missiles properly in these holes, like if I stand up here, these missiles will kill me in one hit, regardless of remaining HP. They're one of 2 instant death hazards, environmental hazards like that in the game, the other being the spike ceiling in stage 5. That's weird. I at least didn't get exhausted there though. So this fight's a little weird. I actually don't understand how this guy's health works, because the amount of damage that certain attacks seem to deal seems to be different on this guy. He can sometimes take a lot of hits if I'm not using enough rocket boosts, and I don't really understand why. So I'm going to need to make sure I'm at full health entering this mini-boss here. I'm about to enter the core fight, which is one of the most dangerous parts of the run. We need to use damage boosting again, but we need to damage boost in the right places. Need to destroy these blue crystals, which deal a full heart of damage per hit, but these yellow rings only deal half a heart per hit, so we want to try and damage boost on these yellow rings as much as possible. That's a bad cycle. I'm going to need to wait for that one to come around now. Oh, it's not dead. But it's still not dead. Alright. Kind of a shoddy core fight, but whatever. I won the fight, so that's the important thing. You do just want to minimize the time of that fight, because you see just how badly the game lags there, so any time that you spend in the fight is basically multiplied. It's gonna be the same deal with the final boss coming up if I get the wrong attack patterns. Oh my god, input drop. I actually got an input drop from the lag there. I tried to jump and I just didn't jump. So the final boss can use a variety of very random attacks, and there's a couple that we don't want to see. We don't want to see the Flame Breath because it's too difficult to avoid at short range and we'll take an automatic hit from it, and we don't want to see back-to-back lightning cages. A single lightning cage is okay, 2 in a row is bad because it causes the game to slow down horribly. And this is also the only other fight in the game where I'm going to use sword swipes because it's not safe to roll and attack this guy. And time, I'm just going to call time when it happens. That is horrible. Time is going to be when the boss is destroyed. Time. 2039. I'm very, very disappointed with that run. Taking that death on stage 7 boss was incredibly bad. That cost a hell of a lot of time. And it was such a good opportunity to end the fight early as well. But intense run nonetheless. And I hope it was enjoyable for people watching. Because I certainly like running this game. And I think a lot more people should run this game. It's an incredible platformer if you enjoy fast-paced action and just like going fast and killing bosses and stuff. It's a really great game, and I do recommend that anyone who's interested picks this up. Either way, 2039 is still like a decent time. I just have a really high expectation for myself of the times I should be pulling. But yeah, not too much else I can really say other than I hope this was enjoyable to people. And what have we got coming up next in the schedule? Actually, I'm not entirely sure. Damn it, I should have the schedule up. Either way, don't go away because there are really great runs coming up still.
We got SOS coming up next with Deln and Thunder Mustache. That was amazing, Greg. I remember that boss all too well. Alright, up next we've got Deln, Thunder Mustache with some SOS. This game is very short, so let's get right into it if we can.